Boys, I just finished watching the UFC 300 post-fight press conference, and the reason why I waited until this press conference was over to make my official UFC 300 predictions is because a lot of shit just got announced that's going to heavily change the outcome of a lot of these fights. Not only that, but typically you can see a lot of telltale signs of fighters during this press conference. Not always, but sometimes there are little key things there that you can pick up on. With that being said, I'm going to go over every single fight on the card, giving you my official predictions, how it's going to end, plus some takeaways I saw at the press conference. With that being said, opening up the cards on the early prelims, we have Deiveson Figueiredo versus Cody Garbrandt. Now, if you guys didn't hear already, the fight bonuses have increased from the standard $50,000 all the way up to $300,000. With that being said, a lot of my predictions are going to change because of that. I think originally I was leaning more on the Deiveson Figueiredo side, but looking closer into this fight, I just think Garbrandt is better all around. He's faster, he's stronger, he's taller. I think everything is playing into Garbrandt's side. During the press conference, we saw a super rare nice guy Deiveson Figueiredo, which we don't see that often. With that being said, this is one of the closer fights on the card. I don't think it's going to be a wash from either of the fighters. However, I do think it's going to be a KO win for Cody Garbrandt. I'm hoping we see a more calculated, a more calm Cody Garbrandt in that octagon. I think in the first round, the speed advantage is going to be very apparent on Cody Garbrandt's side. I could see Figueiredo trying to mix in some takedowns, but having no success with Garbrandt. Then I can see round 2, Deiveson getting pushed up against the cage, and then Garbrandt landing a flush hook that just puts down Figueiredo cold. That's my official prediction. Cody Garbrandt by KO. Moving up to Bobby Green versus Jim Miller. The $300,000 bonus completely changed my mind on what's going to happen for this fight. Originally, I was going Jim Miller 100%. I was so confident that Jim Miller was going to win this fight, mainly because it's only been 4 months since we saw Bobby Green get viciously KO'd by Jalin Turner. Plus, in some of his interviews, you can tell that CTE has been hitting differently on Bobby Green. Even at this press conference, you could see the CTE was hitting a little bit different. And because of that, I was originally thinking, Bobby was going to take this a little bit more safer. We're not going to see the normal Bobby Green in there, but with that $300,000 fight bonus, that's going to push Bobby to, just leave it all in the octagon. Either he's going to get a finish or he's going to get finished by Jim Miller. But I just think Bobby Green is all around just a better MMA fighter than Jim Miller. Don't get me wrong, it is a very close fight. In one of Bobby Green's interviews, he did say he was making close to that $200,000 per fight. Now, with that $300,000 fight bonus on the line, best believe Bobby Green's going to go in there with some intent to finish the fight violently against Jim Miller. So with all that being said, my official prediction is Bobby Green first round TKO win. Now with that being said, I could see a situation where Jim Miller does get a submission, but official prediction is Bobby Green by TKO. Moving up to the women's strawweight division, Jessica Andrade versus Marina Rodriguez. This one, my prediction hasn't changed at all. Both of these women are finishers, and originally I did see this one going to the decision, but again, with this fight bonus being announced, it's going to make every fighter push to get that finish. And with that being said, I think Marina Rodriguez is going to catch the chin of Jessica Andrade, not put her out cold, but a TKO win. I see it being very, very similar to the Xiaonan fight, where Jessica Andrade is pretty much just running hands down, chin in the air, trying to track down Marina Rodriguez. And then Rodriguez is going to find that chin, put her down, and the fight with some ground and pound. I'm going to say third round TKO win for Marina Rodriguez. Moving to the main event of the early prelims. This one, my prediction did change, unfortunately. Jalin Turner versus Money Moicano. Unfortunately, Jalin Turner is going to win this one. I do hope I'm wrong. I'm hoping that Moicano does pull off the upset. I'm pretty sure he is a significant underdog. I'm pretty sure. But with that being said, Jalin Turner, his reach, his build, the fact that he can barely make lightweight is just going to be way too significant for Money Moicano, unfortunately. Now, keep this in mind. I could see a situation where Jalin Turner doesn't make weight. And if he doesn't make weight, who even knows if this fight goes on? But I could see a possibility where Jalin Turner, the guy that everyone says is huge for the lightweight division, I could see a situation where he doesn't make weight, unfortunately. And if he does have a bad weight cut, I might switch over to Moicano, but if everything goes smoothly, I can see Jalin Turner's reach, his power, his footwork, everything just being too much for Moicano. And unfortunately, I can see Jalin Turner catching Moicano. Again, I don't think it's going to be a flush one-shot knockout, but I could see Jalin Turner landing a crisp 1-2, knocking down Moicano and finishing the fight with some ground and pound. I'm going to say early 3rd round TKO win for Jalin Turner. I think the first round is going to be very competitive, but again, the reach of Jalin Turner is just going to be way too much for Moicano. Second round, Moicano is going to switch it up. He's probably going to land a takedown, get some good control time on the ground. I can see Moicano doing very well on the ground. But then 3rd round, again, he's going to try to go for the takedown. Jalen's going to adjust and finish the fight from there. Official prediction, Jalin Turner TKO round 3. Let's move over to the prelims. First off, on the prelims, Sodiq Yusuff versus Diego Lopez. My prediction hasn't changed at all from this fight. I think this is going to be a barn burner fight. I could definitely see the winner of this one getting that fight of the night bonus. And that winner, in my opinion, is going to be Diego Lopez. First round knockout for Diego. Although, yes, Sodiq Yusuff does have a very good build to fight against someone like Diego Lopez. I just think low-key Diego Lopez is that guy, and he's going to prove that on Saturday with a first round knockout. This one I can see being a flatline KO. I think it's definitely going to be one of the highlights of the night. Moving up to the women's bantamweight division, Holm versus Kayla Harrison. Now, originally I did have Holm winning this one by a very boring decision, but again, that $300 fight bonus literally changes everything in my opinion. I think Kayla Harrison is going to take down Holm first round. I could see first round Holm doing extremely well on the feet, good 1-2s, good kicks, but as soon as Kayla Harrison does get the fight on the ground, I think that's where it's over. I could see Kayla Harrison cutting up Holm with some elbows. I could see some like prime El Kukui elbows on the ground. Now I know I know it sounds crazy saying prime Tony Ferguson in comparison to Kayla Harrison. Don't get me wrong, nowhere the same, but I can see some vicious ground and pound with elbows on the ground, cutting open, getting Holm's blood all over the octagon, and I could see it being a vicious ground and pound TKO for Kayla Harrison first round. This is another fight that I'm very concerned about if Kayla Harrison will even make weight, and if she doesn't make weight, Holm already said she's not going to fight her, so hopefully she can make weight. Hopefully she can continuously making weight, because honestly we need some sort of entertainment in the women's bantamweight division, and I think Kayla Harrison could be that person to bring some life into this division. But again, it all depends on if she can even make weight on Friday. Moving up the card, one of the fights that I am extremely excited for in the featherweight division, Calvin Kattar coming off an 18-month recovery time against Aljamain Sterling. Now, with that being said, that 18 months is going to be extremely prevalent in this fight. People say ring rust doesn't affect anything, but coming off 18 months, and not only just coming off an 18-month hiatus from the sport, but coming off 18 months recovering from a pretty significant injury is, in my opinion, going to show in this fight. Now, one of the things that you have to pay attention to is the injury didn't happen on Calvin Kattar's lead leg. There wouldn't be that much of an issue if it was on his lead leg, but unfortunately it was on his rear leg. So when Sterling does eventually get a hold of Calvin's lead leg, all of his weight is going on his previously injured rear leg, which is just a recipe for disaster. It's definitely not going to be as strong as his lead, or as strong as it used to be in the past when it wasn't injured. With all that being said, I think Calvin Kattar is going to do decently well on the feet. I could see him landing some pretty good combinations against Aljo, but at the end of the day, I could see this being a very similar fight to Aljamain versus Corey Sandhagen. I can see a very quick, not as quick as a Corey Sandhagen fight, but a pretty quick first round rear naked choke submission for Aljamain. Even though Kattar isn't as lengthy as someone like Corey, I can see it playing out very similar. So I'm going first round rear naked choke for Aljamain. Pretty much once he gets a hold of Calvin Kattar's back, it's going to be a wrap in my opinion. Moving up to the main event of the prelims, light heavyweight fight, Yuri Prochazka versus Aleksandar Rakic. Now, I don't know why Rakic has decided to go Evo mode this fight card. Now, originally I did have Aleksandar Rakic getting a pretty boring decision win. However, like I said, $300 fight bonus, I think the moment of being on UFC 300 is going to get to Alexander's head. I do see that happening. I could see him completely changing, not fully his fight style, but I can see him being a lot more aggressive than he usually is. But with that being said, Yuri has really only faced adversity in 2 of his fights, once against the champion Pereira and the other one against Glover Teixeira. Now, against Teixeira, he was constantly having to look out for the threat of the takedown. And against Pereira, one of the things that was commonly said was that Yuri is so bad against defending leg kicks, and Pereira has some of the nicest and powerful leg kicks in the game. Now, both of these things Rakic does do pretty well. He does mix in the low kicks in his game, plus he does have the threat of the takedown on his side. But with all that being said, I think the moment's going to get to Rakic. I think the $300 fight bonus is going to be in the back of his head, and he's going to try to go and finish the fight instead of doing his normal pretty boring fight style. And because of that, I can see Yuri's unpredictable striking catch Aleksandar Rakic, and I've completely changed my mind on this fight. I see it's going to be a second round, mid-second round flatline KO for Yuri Prochazka. I think the first round is going to be very close. Second round, I think Yuri's just going to eventually catch him. It's going to be some crazy stuff. Definitely one of his highlight KOs. I have Yuri by second round KO. Now, finally, let's go into the main card. Nothing but crazy fights here after we get past this Bo Nickal one. I'm so not excited for this Bo Nickal fight. I'm not going to lie. Honestly, I made a video a few days ago of from the best to the worst fights, and I think I've changed my mind. I think this Bo Nickal versus Cody Brundage is the worst fight on this card. Let's quickly just go over this one. Bo Nickal, Cody Brundage, first round submission for Bo Nickal. With that being said, let's move up to just nothing but bangers after this. Charles Oliveira versus Arman Tsarukyan. The winner of this is arguably next for the title shot. My prediction hasn't changed. I haven't changed how it's gonna end. I haven't changed what round. Charles Oliveira, the champ, has a name for a reason, guys. He's gonna catch Arman with a crisp check hook round 1. I'm gonna say like early to mid round 1. He's gonna catch Arman, knock him down, finish him up with some ground and pound. The champ has a name for a reason, and it is Charles Oliveira. And honestly, I can see this being a very easy win for Charles. The first few minutes of the fight is gonna be relatively close. I think Arman is going to respect the power of Charles, play it a little bit safe, but at the end of the day, I see that check hook being very available for Charles Oliveira. First round, TKO win, Charles Oliveira. Let's move up. Justin Gaethje, Max Holloway, BMF belt on the line. Now, I changed my mind on this fight completely. When it first got announced, I was Justin Gaethje KO win all day, but I think we're going to see a mythical fighter born on UFC 300. People are saying, you know, Max Holloway isn't showing up. Jerome is showing up on fight day, and I don't really think that the fact that Jerome is showing up. I think the mythical fighter, Floral Fight Short Holloway, is showing up. I think those Floral Fight Shorts are going to push Max Holloway into mythical status. And Holloway is just getting into his prime. I can see Justin Gaethje winning round 1, round 2, just barely winning round 2. But round 3, 4, and 5, Max Holloway is going to put a clinic on Justin Gaethje, winning by decision and becoming the new BMF title holder. And then, unfortunately, I do see Justin Gaethje hanging up the gloves after this fight if he does lose. With that being said, I forgot to mention, I do also think Holly Holm will also hang up the glove after her fight. But yeah, let's move over to the co-main event of the evening. Women's Strawweight Championship on the line. Weili Zhang versus Yan Jinan. I think this is going to be a fairly one-sided beatdown for Weili. I just think Weili is just better all around, better everywhere. I can see the first round being complete domination on the feet. Second round, I think Yan Jinan is going to try to take her down, have a slight bit of success, but Weili will eventually get back on the feet, continuously just piecing her up. Third round, Weili's going to go for her own takedown and eventually get into a crucifix position. We've seen her do it in the past, but I think that's where the fight's going to end. Weili's going to get into a crucifix position, rain down some nasty elbows, cut open Yan Jinan, and unfortunately Yan Jinan is not going to be able to escape whatsoever, and it will be a TKO win for Weili in the third round, keeping her reign as a strawweight champion of the world. But moving up to the main event of the evening, light heavyweight championship on the line. Alex Pereira, the reigning defending champion, against the man who never lost his championship, Jamal Sweet Dreams Hill. And I'm not gonna lie, this fight is also extremely close. One of the more closer fights on the card. There is in my opinion, there's no way this fight ends other than a knockout on either side. But looking at some tape, looking at both of their previous fights, and some things I've seen on Twitter, one glaring thing I have saw is Jamal Hill's footwork. It might be one of the worst footwork I've ever seen in the UFC. A great comparison I have seen from Jamal Hill is Israel Adesanya if he was bigger, stronger, and overall just worse. I think Israel is better literally everywhere except for strength and overall bigness. But with that being said, there is a bunch of opportunities for Jamal Hill to land that one-shot knockout punch. But with that being said, in my opinion, Pereira has a whole lot more openings to land that shot. Every fight, go watch every single fight of Jamal Hill. Every time he throws, his chin is wide up in the air, begging to be hit. And I can see Pereira finding that chin. Now, the thing that I have no idea when this fight will end, I am leaning to a round 1 knockout for Alex Pereira. And I think that's what I'm going to do. I don't think it's going to take long for Pereira to find that knockout shot. A lot of people have been saying that Jamal Hill is coming back way too soon from his Achilles tear, and the leg kicks are going to be so important in this fight. And yes, I do think the leg kicks are going to have a good impact on the fight, but do I think the leg kicks are going to be the sole reason why the fight ends? No. I can see the threat of the leg kicks being more of a mental thing for Jamal Hill, in his head always being like, I gotta check these low kicks, I gotta check these low kicks. Because best believe both fighters know that the leg kick against Jamal Hill is going to be very important, but I think there's going to be a lot of fake low kicks against Jamal Hill, and I could see Pereira landing some good low kicks against Jamal Hill and then faking a low kick. Jamal Hill maybe lifts up his foot instead of checking it, being off balance, and then getting caught with Pereira's signature left hook, putting Jamal Hill out. I think Jamal Hill will be out before he lands on the canvas, and then Pereira might get another 1-2 hits off before the ref calls it off. But I see Jamal Hill having some sweet dreams. It is what it is. Jamal salty sweet dreams Hill, I think, is going to get knocked out this fight. First round. I think it's going to be a late first round knockout for Alex Pereira. Yeah, those are my official predictions. You guys have to let me know in the comments below. What do you guys think? Do you disagree with any of my takes? Do you think that the $300 fight bonus isn't going to have as much of a significant impact as I'm making it out to seem? Because I personally think a lot of these fighters are going to change the way they approach their fight because of this $300 fight bonus on their mind. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching to the end. It means so much if you could leave a like on this video. It helps me so much with that YouTube algorithm. Rare MMA here to stay. We're here to take over this year, so don't forget to subscribe with those post notifications turned on so you never miss any of my newest videos. And yeah, there's really not that much else left to say except for I will see you guys in my next video.